New World's player numbers are still going up, and the key question is, what will happen next? Well, let's talk about it. Big shout out to my YouTube members. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you very much to you. If you want to support the channel, that is the best way to do so. So week on week, it seems that New World's numbers are actually continuously trickling up right now. Let's prove it. So this is Steam charts. This is literally just the player numbers from Steam. Okay, and there's a couple of key things. One, we can have a look at the graph. If we go back in time, we can see like the obvious massive dip, and it was like continuously dropping up until maybe around July, August time, right? Like if we put it right there, you can see what's going on. It was starting to dip, and then something funky happened, and it happened actually just at the end of July. Now this little dip here is probably just because it goes from this sort of like average to the actual daily points, okay? But we can see here that it has actually been steadily going up, okay? And if we zoom in just a little bit, you can see here that actually our peak players like recently in the last 30 days has been 48,000. We have not seen numbers like that since like February. So February was more than that, but March was less than that, okay? That's absolutely huge. 48,000, and we saw that just on Sunday, October 2nd. And that's backed up with the graph, and it's backed up with these pluses and minus, right? So these last 30 days obviously just taking in a rolling 30 days, which is including some days in October, some days in September. But we can see that September had literally the average players is about 9,000 more than August, and August was 3,000 more than July. So we went up 3,000, then about 9,000, and then who knows what it's going to actually end up being for October. We'll talk about that in a minute, but yeah, you can see the percentages are going up, the peak plays were going up, and that's on Steam charts alone. Now, some people don't really believe player numbers because of bots or what have you, even though I made a video saying I'm not 100% sure how much bots are impacting that, but you know, some people might not believe that. Let's have a look at Twitch. Now here I am on Stream Charts, another website which sounds very similar to Steam Charts, but I want to draw your attention to this bit here, September and August, okay? And let's just have a look at the watched hours. So the watched hours in September absolutely dwarfed the watch hours from August, literally more than double. That's absolutely crazy, right? And you can sort of tell that people are more interested in the game because people are streaming it more. The average number of channels streaming it is higher. The average number of, the peak number of channels is also higher. And of course, the average viewership is also higher. Like, look at that, it's doubled, right? Even, well, nearly tripled there, much higher. This chart here is from Twitch Tracker. And again, obviously this big peak sort of like skews everything, but we can see, look, you can see how at the end of this, the chart is going up. So the viewership is going up. So technically the average here in October is a little bit less than September, but let's not like dwell too much on that. Generally, that is pointing in the right direction. So all in all, player numbers are going up, it seems. Twitch viewership is up. All indicators point upwards, and that's good. But the question is, what next? Now, we'll probably find out a little bit about what next imminently. When we get news of fresh servers, that could drop at any moment, by the way. That could drop today, tomorrow, at any point. I literally have no idea when that's going to drop. But fresh will weirdly bring a completely new set of players to this game. There's probably quite a lot of players who are thinking about coming back, but they don't want to be really far behind. Maybe they just want to give it a second shot because maybe they only leveled to level 20 before and got bored. There's going to be a chunk of players who are just waiting for fresh. Once we get news of that, we'll know when we're going to see a big peak in the game. And then of course we have Brimstone Sands. We know the release date now is the 18th of October. By the way, I'm not sure when on the 18th it will launch. A lot of the times when it comes to the UK time, that generally means first thing on the day after. So just be aware of that. It could be sort of like late in the evening. If you're like booking a day off and you're from EU, there may or may not be any point. You might just be safer booking the next day off and playing the whole day. That's just my opinion. Do whatever you like. It's your life, okay? But it's important to know those two things because obviously I think the player numbers are going to go up yet again. When Brimstone actually launches, we're going to see a big peak, or will we? It really depends on what we do with servers. Fresh servers are maybe a little bit easier to understand. There is a key question about when they launch Fresh. I sort of hope, and I know people will be disappointed in this, that Fresh and Brimstone happens at the same time. Because what I think is going to happen is there'll be people like myself who will flood those fresh servers, but maybe not actually plan to get to level 60. I sort of want to play on fresh just to engage in that experience again, but I'm happy with my level 60 right now. I'm not going to like re-level a whole new character. I already have an alt at like level 55. I don't really fancy it again, but I do like that leveling experience with all the other players, maybe doing like early wars. It's just really fun, right? If you have Brimstone and fresh at different times, you're going to get players who have to choose between which one to do, which sounds sounds bad, but I actually think that's probably healthy for the game, because what I could see happening on these fresh servers is they'll get swamped by people like myself who'll just be there temporarily, and then the people who actually want to play fresh will feel like a dying server again. We don't really want that. I personally think if we're going to do proper fresh like for everybody, then you wouldn't want to do it at an expansion time. You'd obviously want to do it when, you know, 1 to 60 has been reworked and it actually will feel properly fresh to people who've already played a lot. So I would not be surprised if we see fresh being the same day as Brimstone. I sort of feel like that's a logical, sensible thing to do, because you want fresh to target newer players or returning players who didn't quite get to max level, and you want Brimstone to target the players who are already max level. You want to give them more content. Separating them basically means you'll see a bit of crossover, more people in fresh than probably are going to stick around. Either way, when it comes to player numbers, these two things are going to be huge. Fresh a little bit easier because it's just new servers, that's going to get new people, but Brimstone's a little bit more awkward. How many people are coming back for Brimstone versus how many people are already playing? I don't really know the answer to that. One key thing for me is what they're going to do with servers. I've mentioned this a few times, but in the dev update it sort of sounded like they were working on a new technology. Now we don't know if that's going to be where you can just easily change servers at a whim or what have you, right? I literally have no idea. A bit of me thinks it's going to be able to change server from the main menu, so you don't have to go through the queue to get onto the server, but it's speculation. Is that technology ready for the 18th? I don't know, but if it's not, we're going to see a lot of queuing. And that's not what anybody really wants to see. And the developers have said that themselves in the dev update. They're happy with a few little bit of a queue, but they don't want 500, 1,000 people queues. That gets a little bit ridiculous, right? So in October, we're going to see some insane spikes, some insane marketing and absolutely everything, right? I have no idea what's going to happen in terms of its peak. I wouldn't even like to guess. I have no idea. But then beyond that, in the October dev update, we're going to get apparently a roadmap that will keep people either interested or disinterested in the game, depending on what's in there, I guess. But that will in itself build a little bit of hype if people like that kind of stuff. People are not going to be happy that I keep mentioning this, but I have a feeling that maybe at the end of December, like with the Game Awards, we might see a very sneak peek at an expansion. No idea if that's true or not, but we'll see. So I sort of feel like the rest of this year is going to be relatively good for New World. Where I think we will possibly tail down a little bit is in the year 2023, next year. I think what we'll see is sort of similar to what we saw this year. I think the content's going to be further apart because they've said that themselves, and I think that sort of makes sense. And we'll probably see people spiking and the interest spiking when events in the game are happening, like those big new content drops are happening. And I think we'll see that a couple of times next year, but overall we might see the interest wane a little bit until we get the next big thing that everybody's excited about. And if my opinion is correct, then the end of next year will be where things really pop off. So player numbers are going up. That's what I think is going to happen next. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Big shout out to my members again. Thank you very much to you guys. If you want to support the channel and you want to help me, then that really is the best way. What you should definitely do is have the most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.